Hello, everyone. I'm Tech Sergeant Daniel Heine, and today I'm going to be briefing on the performance evaluations. I'm going to be briefing on the common evaluation errors that we've been seeing, the evaluations backlog, the officer promotion boards, and some recent updates that we've had in the evaluations process. The first common error that we have been seeing mostly is the directed by half rule. So the 12 or 24 rule means if a member promotes or demotes and they have more than 12 months for an AGR or 24 months for a non-EAD member between the start of their report and their new rank's next static closeout date, then they will have to close a directed by half report on the day prior to their promotion or demotion. We've been seeing issues where members are having reports that are longer than the 12 months or 24-month rule because they promote or demote. So we have been sending them back to do directed by half reports. The next common error that we've been seeing is the A1C and below guidance. The guidance came out on 4 January 2018, and it states that the start date of the member's report will be their date initially entered uniform service, and their closeout date for their initial report will be the first 31 March static closeout date reached as a senior airman. We've been seeing issues where units have been starting their reports on the member's date of rank to senior airman, but the report should be starting on the member's date initially entered uniform service or DIAS date. The report most likely will be longer than 24 months, which is okay for the first initial reports. These reports can be anywhere from 24, sometimes I've seen up to 5 years long, depending on when the member reaches the rank of senior airman and when their next static closeout date will be. The next common error that we've been seeing is in regards to referral reports. The signature dates are the first problem that we've been seeing with the referrals. The date that the rater signs the report should be the same date that they sign the referral memorandum. The additional rater must wait at least 3 duty days for AGR members or 30 calendar days for non-EAD members before they can sign the report. So the additional rater has to wait those 3 or 30 days from the date that the member signed the referral memorandum, not the date that the rater signed. We have to make sure that we give the ratee the full amount of time to submit a rebuttal if they wanted to. And even if they do decide to not submit a rebuttal, we still have to wait that full time frame in case they change their mind or contact the ADC and decide to have a strong rebuttal for that referral report. Also on referral reports, we've been seeing an issue where the additional rater is not adding their mandatory comments in their section of the EPR. So if the ratee did provide a rebuttal, then there should be a mandatory comment that states, I have carefully considered the comments to the referral, or if the member did not provide a rebuttal, there's another mandatory comment that has to be in the additional rater section. We've been seeing reports that the additional rater is not adding that mandatory comment in their comments section of the EPR. Some prohibited statements we've been seeing on reports: fitness scores or categories. A member cannot have a personal fitness score or category on their report unless they failed and are receiving a referral report. The member can have the unit fitness scores or categories if they were a UFPM or a PTL, but they cannot have any personal fitness scores or categories. So they can't say member increased score to 85% or member received excellent on the last 6 fitness assessments. Not have any fitness comments. Also, PME has been Another major prohibited statement that we've been seeing for enlisted members, ALS, NCOA, and senior NCOA cannot be mentioned on an EPR if the member did not receive an award. So if the member received an award, such as the Distinguished Graduate or the John Levitot Award, then they can add that to the EPR, but they cannot add just a simple member completed ALS or member enrolled in NCOA. They have to include if they won an award, if they want to add that PME statement on the EPR. For officers, only the terms PDE, IDE, and SDE are authorized for use on an OPR. The SOS, ACSC, Air Warfare College, BDE, those are all schools that cannot be mentioned. The only ones are PDE, IDE, and SDE that they can recommend for officers on an OPR. Another common error is the period of report is incorrect. So please ensure that you're verifying the member's PRADA record and their MilPDS record to see when their last report closed out, and the next one should always start the day after their last report closed out. Also, the period of report should end on a static closeout date for enlisted members unless they are completing a directed by half report due to promotion or demotion, or they're receiving a directed by commander derogatory evaluation. So please ensure that you're checking to make sure that the period of report matches what the member should be receiving, not just what is projected for the member. The EPRs are missing the rater or ratee's signature block. If the ratee is not available to sign or refused to sign, then someone who has previously signed the EPR must sign for the ratee. They cannot simply select member unavailable or member refused and not have a signature. It must be signed by someone in the member's rating chain to verify that the member is unavailable or refused to sign. And the most common error for the Air Force Form 911 for Master Sergeants and Senior Master Sergeants is that Section 9, the Final Evaluator section, is blank. Section 9 is a mandatory section on all Air Force 911s, and it must be signed by either a intermediate evaluator, deputy evaluator, or senior rater if applicable. The squadron level unit commander, if they are lieutenant colonel or below, will sign as an intermediate evaluator. A group commander, an 06 squadron commander, or someone who works directly for the wing commander will sign as a deputy evaluator, and the wing commander will sign as a senior rater. The wing commander will only sign under two circumstances: if it is a forced endorsement, so that means they are the only commander in the member's chain of command, or the member is receiving a stratification. This section must be completed by one of the three final evaluators. It cannot be just left blank, even if the final evaluator has previously signed the report as the rater, additional rater, or the unit commander. They still have to sign Section 9. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about our backlog and the amount of time that we've been taking to process reports. Back in July of 2018, our inventory was over 53,000 evaluations that were at our level sitting with us to be processed. As of 5 October 2020, we were down to almost 5,000 reports. So we have cut the amount that was in our inventory and are working a much lower number than we were previously. Right now, our current processing time is between 15 to 20 days. So those 15 to 20 days start once the report reaches our level. If we do have to return the evaluation for corrections, that 15 to 20 days will restart once it comes back to us and will get sent to the bottom of the queue. We are at 0 evaluations that are over 30 days as of 5 October 2020. So we are processing every single report within the 30-day time frame that we are supposed to be processing the report. Some of the factors that led to our increased inventory and some of the numbers that we still are seeing right now. The first factor is system latency. So we use 4 different systems to process one evaluation. And if any one of those 4 systems are down or working slow, then we aren't able to process, or we can only process, a few a day. So that's one factor that leads to a high increase in numbers and why we still haven't been able to get all the way down to processing within 1 day of receiving the report. The next factor is our return to rater right now is around 30%. So 30% of the evaluations that we review are incorrect and have to be returned for corrections. This adds to the queue because these are just numbers that keep coming back to us. So every time the evaluation comes back to us, it adds a new number to our queue, and it also goes to the bottom of our queue, which adds to the processing time for that specific evaluation. Every UTA weekend, we receive about 1,500 to 2,000 reports just from that weekend. So every time there's a UTA weekend, we have to make up those 1,500 to 2,000 reports to be able to keep our queue low and try to get to 0. Previously, only the reserve staff sergeants and above were receiving reports, and AGR guard members were receiving reports. But now, to the implementation of the static closeout dates, all enlisted ranks and statuses from non-EAD to senior airmen and below are receiving static closeout date reports. So this added to an additional 90,000 reports from the Guard, from the non-EAD members, and also from the reserves for those who are senior airmen and below receiving their initial report. So those additional 90,000 reports per year were not factored in originally in July of 2018. Because ARPC, we were not used to receiving the high amount of numbers, but we have been getting more technicians to process those additional reports that we have been receiving. We do have a new auto push system that has allowed us to decrease our backlog. This system will only work 20% of the time. How it works is it tries to automatically read the form and process the report. This only works 20% of the time, so the other 80% of the reports we have to manually review ourselves. For the time that it does work, the report, if it has any errors on it, will still get processed to the member's record because of the computer program submitting into MilPDS and ARMS without any oversight by us at our level. So this requires the need for the FSS or CSS to review them before it gets to our level in case the auto push does push it into the member's record. We have been having issues where reports that are incorrect will be auto pushed because the computer is able to update MilPDS and push the report, and we cannot simply just remove that report from the member's record. It does have to meet an evaluation report appeals board or ERAB to be removed from the member's record. So we are asking CSSs and FSSs to please review all EPRs before they get to our level so that if there is something incorrect, you can fix it at the lowest level before it gets into the member's record, because an ERAB can take up to 120 days for the report to be removed and replaced with the correct report. So again, please review the EPR or OPR before it gets to our level at ARPC so that the auto push system does not submit the report to the member's records. A little information about expediting reports for officer promotion boards. So we do expedite OPRs that are affected by promotion boards, either at the ARPC level or at the state level. If a member is meeting a promotion board and their most current or any previous OPRs have to be submitted, please open a MyPERS incident or a question ticket with the EVR number and the board ID so that we are able to verify the member is meeting that board, and we can expedite the report for you as soon as we work that question ticket. We do work question tickets within 3 days of receiving them, so please allow that time for us to process the report as well if the member is meeting the board, the next week or in a couple weeks. We do request that all inquiries pertaining to expediting reports are only due to promotion boards, as we are within that 15 to 20 days. So any other reason we should be processing that report, within that 15 to 20 days. So the promotion boards are the highest reason for expediting currently for us. And please keep in mind that report timeliness is everyone's responsibility. So please do not, send an OPR at the last minute and then request the OPR to be expedited due to the board, just because it had taken a while for the report to be. Please attempt to complete the reports, in a timely manner so that it doesn't have to come down to expediting the report and making sure that the board gets that report before the board meets. Here are a few recent updates that have changed for the EPRs, OPRs, and just our process in general. So the first change is going to be in regards to the Air Force Form 911 in the education block. The CCAF degree is no longer the only degree that has to be completed in order to mark yes in the CCAF conferred section. If a member has a 2-year accredited associate's degree prior to the closeout date, it can be marked yes. It doesn't have to only be the CCAF degree anymore. So any 2-year accredited associate's degree in order to mark yes in that section. On the Air Force Form 911 in the education block, the member only has to be enrolled into senior NCOA prior to the SCOD. The member does not have to complete senior NCOA in order to mark yes in this section. So if the member is enrolled in senior NCOA as of their closeout date, they can mark yes in the education block of the Air Force Form 911 where it states PME complete. Beginning with the Staff Sergeant closeout date of 31 January 2019, a member receiving the rating of met some but not all expectations does not automatically make a referral report. The addition of a derogatory comment on the EPR is what makes the report a referral, not only the rating of met some but not all expectations. So if the member is not receiving a referral but is receiving the rating of met some but not all expectations, there should not be a derogatory comment on the evaluation. If there is a derogatory comment on the evaluation, the report does have to be a referral report. So please keep that in mind when you are creating the reports. If you want to rate the member of met some but not all expectations and not have a referral report, please refrain from adding a derogatory comment on the report itself. And then also for our section, we are delaying the annual tour training that we previously held at ARPC due to COVID-19, and we are brainstorming new ideas on how to provide training to the field. There has been communication about monthly training where each month we train on one specific form at a time. That will be open to everyone in the Guard and Reserves, and it will be via Microsoft Teams. So that link should be sent out in the near future, and that will be our way forward. Starting in January is when we will be holding the first monthly class on the Air Force Form 910. So that's our new training right now. We don't have any plans to bring back the annual tour training that we were previously holding I know that was a popular training class, but with restrictions and the pandemic, we decided to move to a more remote environment.